many different ways you can sell yourself.
You want to be my pimp?
Yeah.
There are lots of different directions which you can take a show like this, and most of them we did not want to take. Tonally, I mean, we're very much on the same page that we wanted a show that was told with style and verve, but very much a show with real people in real life and in very real situations. Just to have the comedy and the fun of it come out of that.
There's no low blows. Everything comes from an honest place.
Hey, sugar. Donnie's here.
Ray's in the stage of kind of waking up from a 20-year nap when this show starts. He's a guy who was the ultimate insider in his community, in his town, and in his early 20s was at the beginning of the American dream.
In high school, you were athletic and talented and smart and popular and hung.
And what am I now, Jessica?
Now you're just hung!
And now it's 20 years later, and he's realizing he's at the precipice of life passing him by.
Ray's a teacher, he's an educator, he's a basketball coach in high school, and a very unlikely candidate for this profession. It's almost a superhero identity. He's got two worlds which he lives in, his world by night, so to speak, and his world by day, and they can never meet.
Tanya, I'm a highly respected educator. Nobody can know who I am.
Tanya, as well, is the world's most unlikely pimp. She takes it very seriously, but has no idea of how to go about it.
Commission's negotiable, 40%. Okay, 30. It's fine, whatever.
Tanya, as kind of a struggling and somewhat failed artist, being a pimp or finding this opportunity, is giving her a way to come out of her shell in a way that's safe, because she's the person behind the person. And I think she sees that opportunity to actually break free.
Where we find humor in Hung is in imagining two very average people who decide to be a pimp and a hoe. And how do they go about doing it?
What the hell? Go for it.
Yeah?
I always wanted to be a product when I grew up.
Thomas is really great, and he's got a quality that I feel like we haven't seen.
I think he really has a sexuality that seems like the most handsome guy in your real life workplace. There's always some guy there who's really handsome and used to be a jock in high school, and from the female point of view has some mystery to him, like what makes him tick? And I think that Thomas really captures that as Ray.
There is something very iconic about the way he carries himself.
You can buy Thomas Jane as a guy who is Ray now and was Ray in high school. He's got that kind of all-American look to him.
Right away, it sounded like somebody that I could identify with. Somebody who had talent, but perhaps life kind of threw him the curveballs and he wasn't able to really fulfill or make good on that early promise. A flame of youth burns out. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And Ray, you know, is, I think, an unlikely candidate to be a gigolo. He's not very good with putting on the suave.
How do you tell when they're good and firm?
That was really what attracted me to the character, was trying to negotiate this jungle of feminine wiles.
I'm a normal guy, you know? I'll do normal things.
What's normal?
Jane was wonderful for us to cast because she is a very honest actress. She plays things very true, and so the humor comes from who she inherently is.
Ray, no. No, now that makes me nervous. Women are not poultry. You can't just grab.
That wasn't a grab.
That was a little sudden.
Jane is unique. I mean, she just projects such complexity. And, you know, Tanya is very much an individual living in a world that does not value individuality.
I was addicted to the news, and it seemed incredible to me what was happening with the economy. So I was really interested that this was about that at core. How are people gonna make ends meet? And I was also noticing in the news that the sex industry started doing better and better as the economy was swirling down.
Big Donnie, are you out of your mind? What kind of clients did you think you were gonna attract with that?
I think Tanya's decided to bring something positive into the world and make money at the same time. And of course, she's gonna run into obstacles, but I think that the universe kind of starts to work with people when they decide to do that.
He's a doctor! He saves lives!
A dermatologist.
The most important thing with Anne is that we believe the two of them. Like, you see Anne standing beside Thomas Jane, so you see Jessica standing beside Ray, and something about those two makes sense. You believe they got married and fell in love. And now you believe that life has sort of twisted them apart, and they're in two different places, and there's all this bad history between them, and yet there's still some connection.
She can give you anything. She can give you comedy and drama, and in the middle, she can sort of break your heart and make you laugh almost simultaneously.
Do you think I'm that shallow? Do you really think I am that shallow?
These characters are kind of interesting because he sells himself for cash. And in a way, there is a question of why Jessica has left him and if it's for cash. Because I had blonde hair and blue eyes, I think everybody always wanted me to be the cheerleader, you know? My sister was a cheerleader and they always wanted me to be a cheerleader, and I was in the meantime like dyeing my hair black and saying, I'm a character actress, like things like that. So it's fun because now I'm kind of having a role that was what maybe people wanted me to do when I was in high school, but now I have a point of view on it, so it's really fun to play. Who is the cheerleader who's now my age, you know? And where did she end up?
Are you mad at me?
No, Mom.
Are you mad that I fell in love with Ronnie?
Mom, we're not mad at you. We just want to eat ice cream.
Damon and Darby, Ray and Jessica's twins, are very unlikely children for Ray and Jessica.
I think Damon likes to think that in this kind of crazy, semi-dysfunctional family that he seems to have like a calm and cool head on his shoulders, and he kind of knows what's going on, and he kind of tries to control the entire family, when in reality he has just as many insecurities and problems as everyone else.
Why are you taking his side?
I can talk to Hammer if I want to, okay? Stop freaking ruining this for me!
Darby can be like a bit of a bitch sometimes, but she doesn't mean to be to her dad. Like, she loves him and they have a good relationship. He doesn't want to look like the poor dad that can't give his kids anything. He wants to prove to them that he's got something to give as well.
What's the second address, Tanya?
You went?
Sure, I went. I'm going again.
You're a god.
A partnership between Ray and Tanya. That's really the heart of the show right there.
Tanya's great character for Ray because she's 100% polar opposite of Ray. She becomes the sort of the brains of the operation.
You have great potential for this. She's not just trying to take people's money. I believe that I'm giving something back. A little bit of happiness for the ladies.
Ray is constantly put in situations in which a normal guy would say, I'm getting out.
Let's fuck. Let's fuck. Fuck. Let's fuck. Fuck. Fuck.
But he, because he's getting paid to do this, he has to constantly engage in artificially constructed, yet very emotionally real, messed up situations.
There's great humor inside of great drama. He goes through a lot of self-searching and sort of changing. That's why it's been such a great ride for me.
These characters are so real and funny in this way that is not in your face or slick or obnoxious. They're just like real people on this crazy adventure together.
The title and the premise is a little bit of a Trojan horse. It's very catchy, but there's quite a lot more to it.
Let's make $1 million, Ray.
Yeah, sure. I'm game.
Ray is a guy that was going somewhere in high school. He was the star athlete.
He's never had to work for women. Women have always come to him. I think he enters it thinking, hey, I'm just a regular guy. I'm gonna do regular things. How hard is it to be a gigolo? It can't be that hard. He has a sort of man's idea of what sexy is to a woman.
You're very pretty.
I think Ray felt at first like, how bad can this be? You know, they pay me money, I show up. Our understanding of women and the female mind is limited, you know, at best.
When Gemma says she might just fall in love with you, you say, I love you too.
You gotta walk through a minefield of perplexities and complexities, negotiating the wilderness of what women want.
And what they want is vastly more complex than what a man would want in the same situation.
I think that he's just sort of feeling things out because it's complicated, not unlike most relationships where people aren't exchanging money.
We try to make sure to play every awkward beat. We don't suddenly jump to Ray in bed with 10 women. You know, Ray's not capable of being in bed with 10 women. Ray wouldn't know what to do with 10 women. You know, like Ray's having a hard enough time with one woman.
He's always messing up. I mean, he messed up with his wife.
Try to think of our kids.
All I do is think of our kids. You have no idea.
what I do for those kids.
I think Jessica and Ray shared a dream, and I think that dream wore out, and Jessica wanted a kind of better reality, so she left him.
She leaves Ray for less than stellar man, but somebody who's more financially comfortable. At least we think is more financially comfortable.
Jessica has questioned every decision she's ever made, but stood by it in a really positive way. But sometimes when you make a decision and you don't quite think it through, maybe there's a little concern when you end up where you are.
So you're not rich anymore?
Correct.
Come on, honey. We're still rich. We're just not as rich.
Yeah, I think she's concerned about where she is, and maybe what led her to that.
It's almost like they're still having a relationship, only she's moved around the corner with some other guy. And the values of what is important to women and what's important to men come into question in what is being a man through the eyes of a woman. It's not always the same thing through our own eyes.
He messes up consistently with Tanya. She's teaching him how to be a friend.
I'm his pimp and he's my hoe. Tanya keeps Ray in line.
Tanya's got heart. She's honest and she's pure. They're just unlikely friends. They're unlikely, strange friends. And that makes for a great dynamic.
In a way, she's the best possible pimp imaginable for Ray, and you can't imagine anybody else. And on the other hand, she's a horrible pimp.
That's right. I'm firing you as a client. You know, I've had enough of you and women like you.
She tries to coach him and how to treat these ladies.
Hey, baby.
Oh, God, Ray. Try again.
Be normal.
Tanya really wants him to truly turn on the women that he meets.
In a bizarre way, the show is more about women than it is about men.
Nothing is black and white. Nothing is clear. Like with Lenore, for example, is she a sociopath? Or is she your best friend?
If you ever want to pick out an outfit to match that stick up your ass, give me a call.
Lenore is sort of an alpha female, so there's a power struggle going on as to who's the boss.
Put your hands on my ass. Put your hands on my ass. I don't think sexually he's used to being bossed around by a woman. I think he's usually in control, so that's an uncomfortable place for him to be.
It's his job. He has to show up and stay up.
Lick my tummy. Lick it.
She really throws him off in terms of his idea of what a woman's role is supposed to be.
It's refreshing that she's so honest and she's so strong. She doesn't take any bullshit. There's a little tension between them all the time, but not necessarily a bad kind. I just need to know your name so I know what to scream when you're banging me.
She's a bitch.
I don't know what to do with him. He's like a stone wall. Why did he even agree to come here?
Gemma is somebody who's had some string of really bad relationships, and she has some money, and she's chosen to work out whatever issues she's had with all these other men through Ray.
Bless his heart, he's just confused. He just doesn't know this is how you deal with ladies. You need to have the experience with us. You need to show us that you are a boyfriend for a day.
It's my job to make you happy. That's why they call me a happiness consultant.
She's smarter than me, and she plays games with me, and she enjoys watching me squirm, and I enjoy the hell out of her.
She manipulates him, and just when he thinks, okay, this is it, I know what I'm doing, this is absolutely the way to go with her, she metaphorically knocks him on the head. They have to sort of delicately dance around what's really going on, what she really wants, and what he should expect from her because she's a woman, and women are so complicated.
Just can't help but wonder why you'd want to ruin such a perfectly beautiful moment on a perfectly beautiful beach with all this fucked up artificial shit.
In our writer's room on the board, like we have our major dramatic questions of the season, and you know, one of them is, can Ray make it as a gigolo? And then underneath that, we have literally and psychologically. And that's a big deal. Like, can he cope with what it means to put himself in these situations where they say jump and he says how high?
What am I, a goddamn dancing monkey here?
In a way, he can never be prepared for this journey that he takes every time.
This is a difficult thing to wrap your head around if you're a regular American guy who's had more or less a normal life.
He might not have the answers of how to get there yet, but he knows that he has trouble getting there. You believe he's really trying to connect to women and to learn something about them.
They pay for the connection, so he has to learn how to connect.
I promise you, Mom, you won't have a hard time saying yes to me.
Every one of these stories spills out what a woman is missing in her life and how she ends up with Ray. He finds a way to bring them maybe a little bit of joy in their life. So this down and dirty, sexy gigolo is actually a really human soul.
There's a purpose that Ray can serve in the world, and he actually can make women happy, and it is something that's valuable.
All right.
Die Krimi-Komödie Okay Garage mit John Turturro und Lily Taylor läuft heute Abend um 20 Uhr. Mittelpunkt der Geschichte ist eine Autowerkstatt, in der die Lehrerin Rachel ihr kaputtes Fahrzeug zur Reparatur bringt. Rachel blättert eine große Summe Geld hin. Allerdings ist ihr Auto nach der Reparatur noch immer nicht in Ordnung. Auf Rachels Bitte räumen ihr Nachbar Sean und dessen Kumpel John die Abzockerwerkstatt so richtig auf. Und zwischen John und Rachel beginnt es schon bald zu knistern. Um 23:30 Uhr geht es weiter mit dem Thriller Die Versuchung, Tender Loving Care. Seit dem Unfalltod ihrer Tochter leidet Alison Overton an einem Trauma. Sie ist fest davon überzeugt, dass ihre Tochter noch am Leben ist. Eine Therapeutin soll Alison helfen. Als diese jedoch in das Haus der Overtons einzieht, beginnt ein noch größerer Albtraum. Anstatt Alison behutsam mit der Situation zu konfrontieren, bestärkt die Therapeutin Alison in ihrem Glauben. Und so ist ein Konflikt zwischen dem Ehepaar Overton vorprogrammiert.